Good morning, LinkedIn. Welcome to Let's Build Daily. I'm your host, Chris Carolan. Today, we're going to bring it back to uh, one of my favorite topics, and that is the Commerce Hub and the orders object that is slowly making its way into the platform. But it's made its way enough. It's made its way in enough to show um, a full workflow, if you will, not using the workflows tool, but a workflow inside of HubSpot where we can capture all the information from pre-sales to post-sales and everything in between, lead to cash, if you will. Some like to say it like that. So again, we're focused on serving the journey. And if we can just take a minute to imagine what life would be like if we are in CX or operations or finance and questions come up after the invoice has been sent or after the payments have been made or anything after the closed one deal. And you could just come in to any space, but we're building that space out in HubSpot, and you could see all the information related to that inquiry, or that request, that customer, that order. And you had all the information you needed to process and help the customer without having to ask 1, 2, 3 other teams, for help. That's what we mean when we say unified view of the customer. It doesn't always mean everybody sees the same thing always, but everybody has access to the information they need, both to take action, but also to understand context related to the actions they might need to take. Right? On the same side, imagine if we're in marketing, business development, or sales, and a new inquiry comes in, and we can see all of this post-sale information related to that customer, related to the company that customer is from. Now, how much easier is it going to be to create a personalized experience, a more contextual experience? Like, hey, we know you, we know who you are. I'm going to talk to you like this instead of talking to you like a stranger, right? It might be the first time you're talking to that person. But if there's context that can help you from their other experiences with the company, you need to know that. And when you do, you can create a great experience right off the bat, and you're likely going to close those deals faster, right? And the cycle continues. So that's what we're going to look at in HubSpot today. And so we'll be starting with, the analytics event. Today it's going to be a form fill, right? That's going to lead to contact record and a company record, as well as a lead record. Now, product record, I'm using loosely here as we're relying on the product library. It's not an object like the rest of these objects. And we'll rely on line items version of it to associate with the deal record. But there's a great up-to-date video about a custom object called product of interest that I'll talk about where you might find it as we go through it. But it's like, if you know which product they're interested in, you should attach that to the situation, to the workflow as soon as possible. Then when you get to the handoffs and somebody's got to quote it, right? Now they know exactly which line items to put on the quote, on the deal, so that they can build the quote, right? So we'll show these creation of these objects. And then we'll take it to closed one and probably just show invoice records. Maybe some payments and subscription records, but I'll hit on that. But we're definitely going to show order record and deliverable records. Deliverables being a post-sale version of the line item that was purchased or closed won, right? So let's get into it. Coming into the Let's Build portal, I'm actually going to use the form that I created with Max Cohen last week. So we'll come into this form and we'll say bites 4 at gmail.com. Bites. And we'll just use this note from before too, because that will work. And now we'll submit. And what we should have is, if we come over and we'll refresh this page, got a second form submission, which we can confirm here. Go to that contact record. And we see that we've got the form submission. And at this point, this is what I mean, that if we know which product they like, either they're noting it here. In this case, maybe it's the salesperson noting it at the event as they input the lead. Maybe they fill out a form directly on that product page. And this is what the difference between these three, right? Like if somebody fills out a form on some blog article or, some how-to guide, right? They're in this stage, right? But if they come to a product page and fill out information from there, right? You might put them in this stage. But also, so there's a difference between wanting to talk to the sales team and, specifically requesting a demo or a quote. And the key is strategically placing the forms so that you give them the opportunity to show you where they're at in this buying journey. So if they're in either of these two places, right? That's what I mean when I say we will, we need to associate, we need to understand the product they like so that this ongoing process does not continually ask them what they're interested in. And we can focus on the problems they have to confirm that the product they want is actually going to serve their needs. So this is not to say that it's going to, like, we might attach a different product later, right? But this is context that is often missed that you have to look for in places. Like usually they're not going to fill this in on the form, right? So here we can see this workflow activity has been updated. So I'm going to refresh the page and don't have a lead. Could be because we're missing a company. So I'm just going to add one of these companies here. And we're we're going to check the workflow. See what might have happened here. Details. Thank you, Madeline. I appreciate it. The Beard Abides is one of those, brands that I thought up when I was maybe 10 years ago. So I'm going to view this contact record again and come to our, let's see what's happening in leads. Going to get rid of this. So completed the form submission. Form name is any of event lead. Capture form. Save. Event lead. Test. I think I'm probably missing the event information. So we're just going to go ahead and let's go find that event. That was Trade Show 2024. And let's do this one. Yep. There we go. Now we'll do this again. All right. If that doesn't work, we'll just create a lead the old-fashioned way. And come over here. Got the submission. All right. So we completed it again. But I'm not seeing it. So just double check here. Oh, okay. So we'll just create new. We'll say hot. And then from this lead, we will move lead to meeting booked and create a deal. And I'll say widget 9,000. We're pretty confident that I bought in, and we're probably going to be quoting pretty quickly. So I think we can close that by end of the month. And we're going to add a line item here. And to do that, we've got to manage our product library and create the product that we want to be selling to everybody. I'll leave the rest blank for now. I'll just say 89.95. And we'll say one time. If we were, this is where if we pick monthly, any of the recurring options, and they pay on the quote, that will trigger the creation of a subscription object. But we're just going to do one time here. And while we're here, want to get paid for this product? Yes, I do. So I'm going to create a payment link while I'm here, which is an easier experience than I've seen in the past. So that's cool. And we've got a go to commerce button here, which is cool. Pardon me while I just check out this new stuff. That will take us to payment setup. Okay. So the challenge here, if you haven't done this already, there we go. So it refreshes. That's good. Sometimes when you're adding, things on the fly in other tabs, it's not going to show up where you need it to until you refresh the page. But we're going to add the line item here. So, but just note, that's how easy it is to, add something you plan on selling a lot, right? At the moment. It's pretty easy to just, blast through this and type in custom objects or custom line items every time. You're going to lose so much data and insight, if that's the approach. So we're going to click create. And now, so we closed our lead, right? And we see the deal activity here. And I'm going to click refresh. And we see our associated deal. Now from here, I will go to the deal and we will add a quote. We see our line items and we want to add a quote, which we can do here on this right side, or not here. Let me just double check to see if I can put a quote in at the middle. Association table. I don't think so. Yep, not yet. So we'll exit. Go back. All right. I'm constantly checking for stuff like that since they're unlocking new things all the time. So even though I've known for a while, it wasn't available, like the way that they unlock things, it doesn't hurt to check regularly as a part of your regular process. So let's actually skip the quote for today and make our way back to the deal. Because most of this is, I think, one of the habits, like similarly to living in deals and tickets all the time. A lot of this transactional process of getting paid and invoices has been built off of the quoting process that exists, and they are slowly kind of detaching that, right? So this whole order management and payment and invoicing, that's not going to require quotes to exist, right? You saw I was able to create a payment link, right? That's usually can be a recommended part of the process. Like if you just want, if they're here and it's hot and they're ready to buy, they might have asked you for a quote, right? Or maybe whatever they asked for makes you think you need to give them a quote. In some cases, a payment link and the page that you will pull up, right? Like if we, go back to our payment links here and we preview, see if it'll let me do this, right? It brings up a payment page. And that might be the only quote that they need, right? Obviously, there's usually going to be more information on this to confirm. And I'll highlight that, like just because you're giving them a payment link or a quote doesn't mean they're going to do what you want them to do. If anything's unclear here, if there's uncertainty, I think that's how you should view these pages. Just like any conversion you want, just because they asked for it doesn't mean they're going to do it. If you make it unclear or add uncertainty to the process, that's going to slow things down and stop them from converting. But oftentimes this payment link will be enough to get things closed. So if you haven't tried it yet and you are using, HubSpot payments or Stripe, like just please start testing out payment links. And it can fit as soon as they give you the signal that they're ready to buy, it can fit in any part of your process, especially when your team is used to just sharing like pricing via email. This is something to give them that they can share via email, because if the customer uses that link, that's going to bring the data into the system that you want, right? So please test payment links. So at this point, I've got some stuff set up in another portal related to, what happens on closed one. So we're going to move over to that. And again, we'll just recreate the process a little bit here. In this portal, we're referring to it as qualified. When I was doing the show with Emerson, he suggested the meeting booked, which I like that as a final stage, as like a, this thing has happened stage. And that's why we're creating a deal. So we're going to go to deliver demo pipeline and contract sent, engagement, Slack. This is Procketeer. And they came inbound. Actually, it was an event, wasn't it? That's what we were telling ourselves. All right, so let's do that right. And we'll say it was a LinkedIn Live. And we'll say it was order management. And we'll add that line item. Or what do we call it? 9,000. Yeah, I'll do over 9,000 max. And now we'll click create. Madeline asks a good question. Have there been any product updates with automating payment links? Other than opening up read-only access to the APIs, I don't think so. So in theory, and if there's anybody watching this that can help answer this question, I invite you. But in theory, if you can read only and the payment link exists, then you could grab it in a workflow to be able to access it and send it where it needs to go. Since it's read only, I would assume that you can't create them in an automated way. But that experience that I just had going from product library to payment link, maybe there's been some progress there. That's an excellent question. So we've got our deal. I'm going to click into it. And you can see here, this is cool. It's been in this deal stage for 2 minutes, apparently. And we're going to click closed one and see a couple of workflows fire. As we wait for that, I'm going to check something that's important to the workflow, which is the deliverable type assets. Looking good there. And we've got, so as we've been approaching this day where orders are coming natively to HubSpot, in preparation for that, in serving the order management use case, we've had a customer orders custom object to support the deliverables experience that we've been creating to support the delivered client portal. So that's what we're seeing here. one of the awkward things about orders right now is that, and why I'm anxiously awaiting their true arrival, um, is that they're only available for viewing in certain places. So if we come back and we go to our contact, I don't think we're associating it yet. We are not. But if we go into our orders view, where do I want to go? Let's check this one out. And we'll go to orders. And we'll go to our preview. So all I'm doing right now is just creating the order so that we can add data here, which can't actually edit over here right now. But you can see this is built for the integrations first. So like Shopify and NetSuite, if you were to see one of those, all of this information would be filled in. But right here, we're going to be able to add weird bytes. Go next. Let's see if I have any of these. We're going to go with order billing contact. We'll add both. And while I'm here, I'm going to associate the deliverable that was created as well. And that is the order deliverable. So you can see I have the capability of associating the order with other objects, except for I might be able to do it. Yes, there is a base association, a default association that we can work with. So we'll go ahead and associate it to link these things together. And then we will, I don't think this will work, but I'm curious to see what will happen. This is why I click on stuff. First time I'm seeing this. First time I'm seeing an order record view. So very excited to see that. I was not prepared for that. So we are going to I'll go back to the other place in a second, but so imagine if you're in order management, you have this record view. You can see this beautiful sidebar. That has all the information. Here we have, let's say we want to add, we've got the deliverables in the order. Like we want to go beyond, this line item. We need to manage like warranties and, stuff like that. So can't quite. Oh, yes, I can. Okay. Sorry, HubSpot team, if you were not expecting me to do this right away, but we're doing it. So association property list, orders. I'm so happy right now. We'll say deliverables. And we'll say order deliverables property list. If anybody out there is very interested in making this happen in their portal, I would love to help you think through how you might get this done and how it fits in with your normal, order management processes. But here I'm going to, let's see. Just want to pick some stuff that I have in this object. So let me just go to expenses, deliverables. All right. And what kind of information do I have? I have customer order ID, deliverable description, record ID. So we'll do deliverable description. Let's say record ID. Definitely got some record source detail. So can just fill that up to make sure we understand where it came from. Sometimes that's half the battle in some of these systems. Just knowing who created what, when. And I've reached the max number of properties, which might be a glitch because we're working in orders. Usually you can go up to, we'll show deliverable associations. Okay, so maybe I picked the wrong one. I'll preview the card using, okay, we will not preview. We'll save. And we'll bring it to the top. This is definitely one of the most beta objects in the system right now. So definitely don't judge a book by its cover right now. But this is very cool. I'm getting very excited as we see this. But I just want to make sure association property list that I'm doing the right thing. Yeah. Okay. So eventually we're going to be able to do like, 12 or 24 properties in that, in this card. But if we go cancel, save and exit, we go back. And here, so just imagine being able to see like more fleshed out shipment details or more fleshed out information for the line item, being able to easily click through like 12 or 24 properties at a time to see which deliverables you need to manage, right? And so we have a custom object. We have different types of objects at play here. And the only thing we're missing right now is a payment, which we can add here. Got subscriptions. And I'm thinking that we'll go back to the deal and do this. But the other thing is the invoice. It's the only thing I haven't shown yet, I think. And that's where, like, maybe we've sent them the payment link. We've sent them the quote. They've got to send in a PO instead, right? They send in the PO. We can convert the deal to the invoice. Imagine we might be able to do something like this as well with orders. But we can convert, or we can create blank invoice. We can add existing invoices. We're going to convert the deal to an invoice. And we see here are our options. And we can now add fields. You can add customized fields to your invoices now. We can add line items. I think an interesting thing that has to be dealt with is like shipping lines, handling fees, trying to separate that from like the real revenue reporting, commissionable items. Taxes keep coming up, like, and being able to manage those better. The team is working on that. And this is why when I talk about line items and why they need to be like where they are and behave how they do, like being able to use them in these spots where it's like sometimes they're custom, sometimes it's from a library. I might have 3 different versions on here. And by the time it gets to, the customer decision, they've picked one, and now I need to take the other 2 off. Right? Like none of the other objects are meant to be managed in that way, right? Especially when you take it to the next step and know that when they pay, when the deal is closed, when these like stages and gates get closed, you should not be able to go back and edit the information in some of these spots, right? So instead of trying to create all this permissioning all over the system for properties here, properties there, like that's why some of these objects are built out this way. Like instead of, if you need an object where you need that kind of flexibility throughout the whole life cycle, that is a different object than a line item or a quote, right? Those are things that are not meant to be managed outside of the sales transaction. It took me a while to learn this myself. Once I saw multiple systems, specifically with line items, handling it in this way, it kind of clicked for me. And as soon as you give yourself permission to create a custom object like the deliverables, now your whole world opens up as far as how easy it is to manage this stuff after the fact. So one other thing I want to note, right, is so we've got comments here. You can take advantage of snippets, you can link things here. Accepted forms of payment, right? It'll be nice someday when this includes purchase order. We have collect billing shipping address, allow your customer to pay an amount less than the balance due, right? In some cases, maybe they haven't brought it over here yet, or maybe just didn't choose the right route, but the milestone billing is going to come up, right? And if we want to do it manually, we reduce the price here, talk about why we did that, and then we'll plan on sending another invoice, right? So if we finalize here, and we won't send it, we'll suggest, I'll click that button just because I know it brings me back to the deal, but I'm not going to email. But this is how easy it is, right? Like, and since you're doing it here, the email gets saved and the link is what you need it to be. And all this stuff, like just order management has a crazy amount of manual labor tied to it right now. And it's because there's multiple channels to place the order now. And when we say things like make it easier to do business with you, that means I need more options than sending you a PDF PO, an email, and then waiting for your confirmation, waiting for you to send me a PDF version of the confirmation. And now all this data is sitting outside of the system or is in multiple systems not connected. So then when I contact you a week later and tell you I need to change the address, it's a pain in the ass. Like, it's a huge pain in the ass. Heaven forbid that address changes to a different state and you got to worry about taxes. And it's like, yeah, the more we do this outside the system, the worse off it's going to be. Right. So now that we've done it all here and we go to, let's see how good this actually is. All right. So we're on the contact record. Right, we've got a company, we've got a lead, we've got a deal. We've got a customized version of the customer order, like based on that object. We've got a deliverable record. What are we selling them? And, is it a manufactured product? Which stage is it in? Right? This is the exact kind of information that we serve up to the portal. And that'll be the next time I talk about this. Like, we're gonna, let's see here. Invoices. Right. And if I click on that, right, make it easy to pay and download. Then if I were to pay, the payment would show up here. And then in the middle, we have the order. All right. So obviously I have some cleanup to do in my portal. But literally everything, like unified view of the customer, 360-degree view. This is what we're talking about. And if you give your orders team, your customer success team, your inside sales team, anybody who's responsible for making sure that your promises are kept to the customer after they pay you or after they give you the PO, right? Like, especially if you already have HubSpot, you're running out of excuses to make that a super manual process, to not have the information you need to serve that customer quickly, to serve that customer in a way that doesn't overburden your team. Like, your team should not be taking as long anymore to be able to give the customer that information. All right. We're not trying to replace the team here. We're trying to give the team time back so they can actually be humans in the process and focus on relationship building and, providing a good experience so that all this administrative work that they are buried under gets taken off their shoulders. And all of a sudden their ideas of sending, onboarding packages and thank you notes and all the things that, you like when you get them as a customer of any of the businesses you interact. Now you have time for that. And you already have the people in place. They already know the customers. They already know your products. You don't have to pay some third party. These are the kinds of opportunities that you are missing by not having a system like this in place. So please look for the opportunities in your process. If you've been thinking about digitizing it for years and you just haven't seen the path, this is the path. And I guarantee I could make it work for just about any business. The customer experience is not different from business to business. They want to be heard. They want to be seen. And they want you to be clear on expectations going both ways, and they want you to meet those expectations. Your system and processes might be different, your products and services might be different, but that experience that they want is not different. And you have to align your systems and processes to serve that every single time, no matter what business you are. And tools like this are available, more affordable than ever before. And you just got to make the decision to do it. So as you think about that, find the opportunity and let's grow. Have a great day, everybody.